In this video, I'm answering your most asked questions about selling on Amazon. I do tons of live streams here on YouTube, answering your questions, hanging out live. I'd love to see you on the next one, but I really liked this one in particular. I wanted to cut out some of the best moments that I think you're really gonna be able to learn from, so I'm super excited to share this with you. And if you're watching this as this video is coming out, Happy New Year. I really appreciate you guys watching the channel, following along. I really appreciate all y'all's support through 2023, and I'm looking forward to continuing to put out tons of free value in 2024, helping tons of you guys become successful Amazon sellers. Let's go ahead and jump into the video, jump into this highlights where I think you're getting a lot of value out of it. Amazon recommends to create ads for an ASIN. Do you get all the sales for that ASIN? So if you do end up running ads, first of all, I wouldn't really worry about running ads if you are just selling name brand stuff, doing arbitrage. It's just something that typically is more for like private label, stuff along those lines. But if you do want to make ads, it can be a really good idea to go in and set up like a nickel or a dime for a bunch of random keywords. And if you do end up buying ads on an ASIN, obviously you wouldn't own the brand registry or whatever in that case. You would only end up paying for the ads when you make the sale. So you're not going to pay for ads that drives other people sales basically. So those ads are only going to show up when you're in the buy box basically. But I wouldn't worry about that too much. Pretty much anything that Amazon suggests you do is generally not the best for your business, like the restocking, and they'll tell you to lower your prices where it's not profitable and all that kind of stuff, right? Amazon wants to see sales on the platform. They're really good at helping us make sales on the platform, but they don't necessarily care about your bottom line so much. So good general rule of thumb is ignore a lot of Amazon's suggestions. See how to ship FBM, things you need to ship. Yeah, Kevin, so I made a pretty long merchant filled guide on the channel not too long ago. One of the better performing videos, I guess I should say, that I've made recently. So check that one out. I think based on the feedback, people are getting a good amount of value from that. But it's basically the same exact process. It's very similar to an eBay shipment. If you've done an eBay shipment or anything like that before, where you buy your shipping through Amazon and all that good stuff. Can you go through what you commonly have to do on your side once ordered a product to Prep Center? Yeah, so that's the nice part is with Amazon, that's how I wanted to structure my business as a business, not where I'm putting things in boxes and bagging it all up and doing all that kind of stuff for hours on end. So I'll just buy the products. I'll ship it off to the prep center. If you guys are paying sales tax in your state currently, consider shipping to a state with no sales tax. A lot of times you'll save time and money. Something we do to mention there. But once you do that, you're going to ship it off to the prep center. Usually you just put on like a Google sheet. You'll say, hey, I bought 10 of these. We paid 20 bucks. Put it on the Google sheet. They're going to take care of the rest and ship it off to Amazon for you. But it depends on how your prep center does things. So I would ask your prep center. Let's see. Best way to reverse source a certain product or find a wholesaler for an item. I mean, it's going to be mostly down to looking at any of the items that like we've found on the live sourcings on the YouTube channel. If you have no profitable products, start from one of those profitable items or start from, so you're going to every day, hopefully you're checking for the best sales that are going on. What sales does Nike have going on? What sales does VitaCost have going on? Walgreens. So you can get a really good idea of the different websites, the different brands that are on sale. And then you want to start clicking through specifically the items that the sellers are selling in that brand, right? So that's where most people go wrong with reverse sourcing is they're just opening up random storefronts and they're clicking around and that's that, right? You need to have an idea of where you might be able to get things cheaply before you dive into storefronts. And that's a big dot that a lot of people aren't able to connect. That's what slows some people down. Go through selling applications to check if anything's available for ungating. Yeah, go for it, Mark. We've also got another kind of good resource for you for the newer sellers below me, the Amazon Launchpad. We added a bunch of new kind of documents and that kind of thing. So there's the auto ungating list is in there. So I made a list of 1,800 brands, basically random ASINs you could punch in that can auto ungate you in those brands. So I would check that out as well if you haven't already referenced that. How do you usually find leads? Yeah. So, all right. If you are a beginner, like you said, you need to be doing probably 75 to 80% reverse sourcing and then a little bit of keep a product finder stuff we go over super heavily in kind of the FBA roadmap. So 75 verse to a little bit of keep a product finder. And the reason for that is if you open up a website right now, which is probably what you're doing, Tony, is you're opening up the website, you're looking for a good sale and there's 1,000 items there. You're just not going to know what to look for. You're not going to know the types of items, which ones are going to be fast. Like over time, you're going to have kind of that sourcing muscle develop or just intuitively which ones to skip straight to, which ones to get past, right? The name of the game as you're growing is to reduce the number of items that you have to actually investigate and get to the point where your sourcing muscle can say, oh, I know that random pink and blue size 15 shoe probably isn't selling super well versus the size 11 black and white that probably sells a lot better, right? So it's stuff like that. And that's why you need to be diving into storefronts, doing some keep a product finder. And as you progress more as an Amazon seller, it goes from beginner to advanced. Think reverse KPF and then manual sourcings over here, where you're just opening up the website directly. So the other thing is like reverse sourcing specifically based on sales that are already going on, like I was talking about a little bit there. Looking at items where the sales rank is way lower than normal, the price is way higher than normal, and then seeing what you can do in terms of local pickups, expedited order shipping, anything you can do to get the item in hand faster than your competition you think they can get it in hand. It's always going to be a really good idea. Just so you can list at merchant fulfilled, make the sales as soon as possible. Where can you get wholesale products? Any wholesaler, Jay. Wholesalers, distributors, brands themselves. The brands themselves is always a good place to start because either you get told no, but you can buy from these guys, or you get told yes, right? So worst case, a lot of times you end up with a distributor lead. Best case, you're buying directly from the brand. So that's what I like to do, shooting emails directly to the brand, but we also work with plenty of distributors and that kind of thing. So what we're doing in that case is we'll come to the distributor with a certain brand that we already know we want to sell, maybe even a couple products in that brand that you want to sell that already sell super well. And then you're just calling them saying, hey, even better if you can say, hey, we've been buying from John at XYZ Distribution, a company that distributor might know, right? And we want to pick up 1,000 units of this, I don't know, vitamin supplement, right? That's going to be a much higher quality kind of cold call that they're getting versus a lot of the emails where they don't have any information. They're just asking for a price sheet. Hey, can you send me what products you have? All that kind of stuff. That's typically not the way to go. At what stage would you recommend getting software instead of tracking manually yourself? Whenever the cost of the software is going to save you the amount of hours that your time is worth, right? So something like an inventory listing software might cost you $70 a month. If it's going to save you 2 or 3 hours a month, then if your time's worth more than 20 something an hour, then bang, you should make that decision, right? What would it be like 20, 25, 28, somewhere around there? Short answer though is if you have decent capital, something you want to do, and you're just trying to scale up and figure out how to use your time more effectively, then pretty soon probably. If you are trying to stretch the capital, you got a grand or two, I would probably hold off. What if you're not engaged in a lot of brands? You only have Nike, not finding too many products. There are probably thousands, if not 10,000 different, well, probably not 10,000, but there's definitely thousands of just Nike products alone that you could buy profitably. So I would dig a little bit deeper, especially if you've already got that opportunity unlocked for you. Look at any of the live sourcings on our page that we've done, just like specifically looking at Nike products. I think like a sourcing video or two ago of mine was just looking at like the Nike sale, which is still literally going on today. So you can compare back to a lot of those products, and then just check out the auto ungating list down below, Eli. You can see what other brands you might be able to get ungated in, unlock some other opportunity for you. But reverse source off the brands that you are already ungated to sell and that are on some kind of sale right now as well. That's like the highest leverage, like easiest, most beginner friendly way to do it. And that's, I'm not gatekeeping anything for you. That's literally what I would do as if I was in your shoes. Let's see. When would you advise to start wholesale? Whenever you are finding decent success with arbitrage already, you don't want to be making super expensive mistakes and all that kind of stuff with wholesale. You can make $5,000 mistake with arbitrage. You're going to be making a couple $100 mistakes, right? Whenever you're to the point where you're spending money super confidently, you're winning on a lot of arbitrage products, and you just simply are running out of products to buy and you still have money sitting on the sidelines, then I would think about doing it. What I like to think about is I think it's much easier to scale to 100K a month with online arbitrage, and then it's much easier to scale to $250,000 a month from 100K a month with wholesale. So I think that arbitrage plus wholesale is like the best cash machine on the internet. But if you're not already doing 10K a month arbitrage, I wouldn't even get close to thinking about wholesale. You could think about it at 25, 50 if you've got some good opportunities that are falling in your lap though. What's your daily schedule as far as how you source product? That's a good question. Yeah. So honestly, I don't do a ton of product sourcing myself anymore these days. A lot of pretty much the team does the vast majority of it, which is super nice. But obviously I wasn't always fully outsourced and all that kind of thing. So what I would say, I'm assuming, Hunter, you're probably doing a couple grand a month or so. Maybe you're doing better, in which case, awesome. But set aside at least an hour or two a day, whatever you can afford. Set aside extra time during days that there's really good sales going on. So whenever you're checking like the sales that are going on, especially if you've sourced a lot from a certain sale and it's back again, you're gonna have to dump extra time into that day. You can't really budget for that super often. And then a really important habit that everyone needs to get in is setting aside at least 30 minutes to an hour just one time a week where you're doing exploratory sourcing. So you're sourcing stuff that you're currently really bad at sourcing, because one day maybe your favorite website, they don't like shipping in bulk anymore, or your favorite brand, they decide to sell on Amazon themselves. These are all risks that can happen. I don't want to scare anyone, but you need to be prepared for that kind of stuff. So that's why I like exploratory sourcing, where you're not just doing the same brands, the same websites over and over again. You're trying to find new categories and new brands and new places to buy those brands from. So a lot of times you're not going to make the most money per hour there, but doing that kind of exploratory time has led to some of my favorite loops, some kind of opportunities to be able to go pretty crazy on. So hopefully that helps a little bit. Really just depends on whatever the sales are going on every day, Hunter. So some days there's going to be no sales that are really worth your time. That's pretty rare, especially this time of year. Is pretty much every day is good for sourcing. But those days maybe you focus on repricing, then the time the next day sourcing. What's best for getting coupons? Just get a few few Chrome extensions, like a few free Chrome extensions, like the Capital One Shopping extension. You got Honey. Rakuten extension has some free coupons. There's also Retail Me Not is a good one that lists a lot of like live coupons that are going on. And then our friend Chris, a lot of you guys probably know Chris Grant. He has Sales Gazer, which is just like a big catch-all email. So it just collects a lot of like promotional emails and that kind of stuff. So you can set one of those up and check that every morning to see what sales are going on. Do you need to have the products in hand for requesting? Okay, no, you don't. That's a common misconception. So you can submit the order confirmation right away. And in fact, that's what we do. And most of the time, we're already ungated by the time the product actually shows up to the prep center, ships it out. They never even knew we were gated on it. So you can definitely take advantage of that. So yes, another super common misconception people have with ungating is you can combine multiple invoices, or even if you're not buying 10 of the exact same product, you could buy 5 of this type of shoe and 5 of this clothing item. As long as they're in the same brand, you could submit both of those if they add up to at least 10 units, which is pretty cool. Roadmap, join Discord, talk to, yeah, that's, I mean, that's the big one, right? Is getting into any community, whether it's paid or not, putting yourself out there. That's why we've been talking about making a Twitter or something like that. Just sharing the journey, right? You just need people to see that you're also taking Amazon seriously. Find somebody else who's taking Amazon seriously, and you guys can both make some money together. Because that was the biggest thing that held me back, right? I was stuck at like 25 to 30K a month in revenue. As soon as I started getting out of the bubble, making videos like this, hopping on calls with people like Miles and a lot of other people that are still active in the community, that was what really helped catapult my business and everybody else's business. It's just like a big win for everybody who taking it seriously. Sweet. Appreciate you guys hopping on here on the Sunday call. I'm gonna go ahead and hop off here. Food's almost here, so I gotta hop out there and meet them. I really appreciate you guys hanging out. DMs are open. Let me know if I can help you guys out with anything. Shoot me a message on like Instagram, one of those. But yeah, great to hang out with you guys. Good questions.